Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a bizarre story of Paul Flowers, who's the ex-chairman of the Cooperative Bank. And he's been caught doing something stupid again. Now this guy has been at court this week, pled guilty to fraud. He embezzled £100,000 from a bill that he wasn't due. Went to court, pleaded guilty, was to get sentenced, absconded, and now he's handed his cell in and he's getting sentenced to whatever he's going to get. But the thing that really baffles me is, this guy's past, he's notorious for being terrible. And you think, how do you get all these... I mean, he was a minister at one time and get done for buying drugs. That's how he's not a minister anymore. And you think, well, that's a bit odd. Then you find the carry on he was up to, and I'll go through his whole story in detail, the whole carry on when he was at the Co-op Bank. And now he's been done for this latest fraud. And I'll start from that one, then I'll go back in time. So disgraced former Cooperative Bank chairman Paul Flowers will be sentenced for fraud after he handed cell into the police following a warrant for his arrest. In July last year, Flowers, who's 74 now, pleaded guilty to a catalogue of fraud amounting to nearly £100,000 when he abused his position as the executor of the will, the holder of a power of attorney for a woman named Margaret Jarvis. In February the 14th, Flower did not turn up for his sentencing hearing at Manchester Crown Court, and judge issued a warrant not backed for bail. 3 days later, he handed his cell into the police and was remanded in custody to be sentenced tomorrow. Judge Dean said earlier this month an immediate custodial sentence would almost be inevitable for the offence over a sustained period involving a vulnerable victim. Flowers from Salford was dubbed the Crystal Methodist after the Mail and Sunday newspaper published secretly filmed footage of the then church minister handing over £300 for crystal meth and other drugs in Leeds in November 2013. November 2013 is quite a bonkers time for this guy. We'll get to that, right? He pleaded guilty at the time in Leeds Magistrate Court, possession of cocaine, crystal meth and ketamine, and was fined £400. So, in early 2023, this is bonkers, right? Bear in mind, he's previous. He was stood down as a chairman of the Cooperative Bank, a post he'd held for more than 3 years, after a £1.5 billion black hole was discovered in its finances. And also, at that time, they had the worst year ever for losses in the history of the Cooperative Bank. And this guy, who buys crack, meth, when he's a Methodist minister, ends up there. And you think, how did that happen? Right? Now you put all that together, he somehow became the executor for a very rich person's will. And you're like, what? Why would people do that? Anyway, the Financial Conduct Authority concluded he used his work mobile phone to make a number of inappropriate telephone calls to premium rate chat lines, used his work's email account to send and receive sexually explicit and otherwise inappropriate messages, and to discuss illegal drugs. Right? But this guy was the chairman of the bank, the Co-op Bank nonetheless. Now, I was looking, he's actually got a Wikipedia page. I've never heard of him before. Maybe I had and I just forgot. But now, in the first half of 2013 alone, the bank, while he was a chairman, lost £700 million. And then they found this £1.5 billion. They brought in a new CEO to sort the gig out because they merged them with, how was the bank they merged them again? I'll get it further on here. Building Society. I was going to say Nationwide, wasn't it them? Merged with Britannia Building Society. They were one of the ones that were struggling with the crash, and they sort of stuck them together. And they brought in a new CEO to try and, energise the whole thing. One of the first things he figured out was there's 1.5 billion black hole. They'd have been overestimating stuff and undershouting losses. 1.5 billion quid. Anyway, so he was appointed by the Labour leader Ed Miliband to a senior post in 2010, were widely reported in the media. He'd been a councillor for Rochdale Council when he was there, right? He was right pally with Cyril Smith, and he didn't do anything about inappropriate complaints about Mr. Cyril Smith. He just kind of helped sort of flower over that. And in 2011, we were working for Bradford Council. Inappropriate but not illegal adult content was found in his council computer, handed in by Flowers for a service. This was put to him and he resigned immediately. So even before he gets to the position at the Co-op Bank, the chairman of the Co-op Bank, you can't get any higher. He has got this history. There's also bits where he's got, where are we? In 2023, blah, 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 been accused of committing, what was this? Aye. So this crime that he done that he's been done with in 2023, it was for stuff that happened between June 2026 and 2027, 2016 and 2017. This guy was in well-paid jobs at the time. And over that 2-year period, I reckon he's knobbed £100,000. She was suffering for dementia and trusted him as power of attorney. And he's got to jail for it. But there was other things. Where is it? There was a bit about his charity work. There was some smelly things with that as well. Where is it? Cooperative Bank, no, their Labour Party. There we go. Flowers has been involved with a large number of charities, including being trustee of both Terence Higgins Trust and the Lifeline Project, which worked in the field of alcohol and drug abuse. Following the scandal in November 2013, the Lifeline Project stated that at the time of his resignation he was under investigation following alleged submission of false expenses claims, with the matter having been referred to the Charities Commission. Right? You're like, how does one... Now this is like, he's got hundreds of different coats, right? He's got minister, charity guy, chairman of a bank. You're like, how do you become chairman of the bank when you've not worked in a bank, right? And this executor of the bill. And he's made an ass of every single one of them. And now he's 74-year-old and he's going to jail. How did he get away with that for so long? Why does nobody at some point go, you're a bit stinking? But there's a weird connection here with the Labour Party. In the 70s, he was a vice chairman of the Eastleigh Labour Party. Contested a couple of seats for them. And then eventually in the Rochdale council election, he was put in Smallbridge and Wardleworth ward from 1988 to 1992. He was a vice chairman of Rochdale Council Social Services Committee at the time of the satanic abuse scandal and was responsible for rejecting allegations of child sex abuse against the late MP Cyril Smith. And in 2010, he was appointed by new Labour Party leader Ed Miliband to the party's Finance and Industry Advisory Board. Why would you do that? And in March, he was part of the membership of the group leader. And in, oh my God, March 2013, as part of his membership of this group, Labour leader Ed Miliband met Flowers to discuss the UK's banking reform. Could you have picked a worse person to advise the government on any sort of reform, never mind banking? Flowers had told MPs in the Banking Committee that he had helped to arrange a donation to the then Shadow Chancellor Ed Ball's office through Ball, though Balls insisted Flowers had nothing to do with the donation. The scandal surrounding the revelations led to the Tory party chairman Grant Shapps to ask the Labour leadership to disclose details of any private meetings with Flowers and to return the £50,000 donation Ed Ball's office that Flowers had back. Stinking. But stinking for all his adult life by the sounds of it, and get away with it for a long... I mean, you're like... He'd have been on a 6-figure salary as a chairman of the Cooperative Bank. Wouldn't he experience? You're like, how does somebody like that get to such a high place in society? It actually beggars belief. Well, maybe not. It's a Labour Party after all. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell. Let me know what you think. Comments are always good value. And if to help push the channel, the thumbs ups, click that and put some comments. Works wonders for the algorithm, so please help me with that. And most importantly of all, As long as you're not the methadone minister, right? Crystal meth. No you, but
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio bye now.